all of it will eventually disappear. And here is the strangest and most fascinating part of this entire truth. Most people spend their entire lives pretending that this reality simply does not exist. They wake up every single morning acting as if time is infinite and always available, as if there will always be another opportunity waiting somewhere in the future. Another year to begin the things they keep postponing. Another chance to correct the mistakes they keep avoiding. But what if this belief is actually the greatest illusion that human beings live under every single day? Think carefully about your own life for a moment. 10 years ago, your life was completely different from the one you are living today. You had different worries occupying your mind, different dreams guiding your decisions, different people standing beside you in your daily routine. Some friends who once seemed inseparable slowly disappeared from your life. Some relationships that once felt permanent eventually ended. Some dreams that once felt powerful simply faded away with time. And the person you were back then, the version of you who lived those days and believed those thoughts, no longer exists in exactly the same way. Not completely. Your thoughts have changed with experience. Your priorities have shifted as life presented new challenges. Your beliefs have evolved as you understood the world differently. In a strange and almost poetic way, you have already died many times throughout your life, and yet you are still here, still moving forward through time, still becoming someone new with every passing year. But here is the uncomfortable truth that almost nobody enjoys thinking about or discussing openly. One day, the process of change stops. Not slowly, not gently, not politely. It simply stops. And suddenly, every unfinished plan becomes permanent. Every "I will do it later" quietly transforms into "I never did it." Every risk you avoided becomes a question that will never be answered. Have you ever noticed how people love repeating the phrase, "I still have time"? It is one of the most common sentences spoken in the entire world. People say things like, "I will start next year," or "I will travel when life becomes less busy," or "I will take care of my health when things calm down," or even "I will chase my dream when the moment feels right." But when exactly does life calm down? When does the perfect moment arrive and give us permission to finally act? The truth is that the perfect moment rarely arrives the way people expect. Life is not a calm lake that patiently waits for you to step in. Life is much more like a fast and powerful river. And whether you decide to swim or simply float without direction, the river continues moving forward. Look around you for a moment and observe the world carefully. Technology changes faster every single year. Cities expand, transform, and evolve constantly. Trends appear and disappear. Almost overnight, companies that once ruled the world suddenly collapse and vanish. Think about brands that once seemed completely unstoppable and permanent. Blockbuster once dominated the movie rental industry. Kodak once defined photography for the entire world. Nokia once controlled the mobile phone market with absolute confidence. At one point, these companies looked immortal and untouchable. Then time moved forward, and the world continued without them. The same exact pattern happens with people. Athletes reach the absolute peak of their careers and dominate their sport. Then younger players appear and slowly take their place. Actors become the face of Hollywood for an entire generation. Then new faces capture the attention of the audience. Musicians dominate the charts and define an era of culture. Then the next generation arrives with a new sound and a new voice. Nothing remains exactly the same. Nothing. And that rule includes you as well. Your body is changing right now at this exact moment. Your cells are constantly dying and being replaced with new ones. Your brain is continuously rewiring itself based on your experiences and thoughts. Even your memories are being subtly altered over time. Scientists have discovered something fascinating about the way memory works in the human brain. Every time you remember something from your past, your brain slightly changes the memory before storing it again, which means that even your past is not completely fixed or permanent. It is constantly being rewritten by your mind. Think about how strange and fascinating that idea truly is. You're living inside a story that keeps rewriting itself over time, and yet most people behave as if they are permanent characters in an unchanging script, as if they will remain exactly the same forever. But the clock does not care about our illusions or expectations. It simply continues ticking. Every second that passes, every minute that disappears, every hour that quietly moves into the past, while most people scroll endlessly through their phones, while they postpone the goals they claim are important, while they wait patiently for the right moment to arrive, and suddenly 10 years have passed, then 20, then 30, and one day they wake up wondering where their life went. Have you ever heard older people say something like this when they talk about their youth? It feels like it happened yesterday. You hear that phrase again and again from people who have lived long lives. Someone in their 70s or 80s describing their childhood as if it happened last week, because inside their mind the memory still feels recent and vivid. Time moves faster as people grow older. Psychologists explain this phenomenon in an interesting way. When you are young, almost everything in life is new and exciting. New experiences that challenge your understanding, new places that expand your perspective, new discoveries that shape your identity. Your brain records these moments with intense detail. But when life becomes repetitive and predictable, the brain begins storing fewer detailed memories. Days start blending together. Weeks disappear more quickly. Years compress into what feels like short periods, and suddenly entire decades feel like brief moments. That is why so many people feel shocked when they reflect on their own age. They blink, and half their life has quietly passed. But hidden inside this uncomfortable truth is an incredibly powerful realization. If nothing lasts forever, then your fears do not last forever either. That embarrassing moment you keep replaying in your mind eventually fades away. That failure you believe ruined everything slowly transforms into a valuable lesson. That rejection that hurts so deeply becomes less important over time. Pain changes, problems pass, difficult chapters eventually close. Everything continues moving forward. Even the worst moments of your life eventually become memories, and memories slowly fade. This is why understanding impermanence can actually be incredibly freeing. Because if nothing lasts forever, then you do not need to remain trapped inside your past. You do not need to carry every mistake for the rest of your life. You do not need to define your identity based on a single bad chapter. You have the ability to evolve. You have the ability to rebuild. You have the ability to reinvent yourself. History is filled with powerful examples of people who did exactly that. People who were completely broke before becoming wealthy. People who were rejected repeatedly before becoming famous. People who failed dozens of times before achieving success. Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken in his 60s. Walt Disney was once fired from a job because someone believed he lacked creativity. Oprah Winfrey was once told that she was not suitable for television. Imagine if they had believed that their lowest moment defined their entire future. Imagine if they had stopped moving forward. But they understood something extremely powerful. Life never stops changing. And if life keeps changing, your situation can change as well. But here is the twist that most people overlook. Impermanence does not only apply to failure, it also applies to success. Good moments pass too. That is exactly why ordinary moments matter so much. The dinner you share with your family, the conversation you have with a close friend, the sunset you almost ignored because you were distracted, the unexpected laugh that brightens an ordinary day. These moments often feel small while they are happening, but years later they become incredibly valuable because one day you realize something shocking. You cannot go back. You cannot rewind time. You cannot relive yesterday. You can only move forward. And forward is a mysterious direction because nobody knows how long their road truly is. Some people live for 100 years. Some people barely reach 30. Life has never promised fairness or predictability. It only guarantees change and eventually an ending. That thought may sound uncomfortable or even frightening, but it can also become incredibly motivating. Because when you truly understand that your time is limited, your priorities begin to change. Suddenly, meaningless arguments lose their importance. Suddenly, procrastination feels pointless. Suddenly, waiting 10 years to chase a dream seems absurd. Because deep down you realize something simple. 10 years is not a very long time. Remember what we discussed earlier. 10 years ago, your life looked different. And 10 years from now, it will look different again. The real question is this: will that change happen by accident? Or will it happen through intention? Because there is a huge difference between drifting through life and consciously shaping it. Drifting is easy. You follow routines without questioning them. You repeat the same habits every day. You delay decisions that feel uncomfortable. You avoid risks that create uncertainty, and life slowly carries you wherever it decides. But intentional living requires something more. It requires awareness. It requires courage. It requires action. It means asking yourself difficult questions that many people avoid. Questions like, what do I truly want from my life? Or, what am I postponing that actually matters to me? Or what fear is secretly controlling my decisions? Or even what would I regret never trying? These questions are powerful because most people prefer not to confront them. Instead, they distract themselves constantly. Endless scrolling through social media. Endless entertainments that fills every quiet moment. Endless busyness that leaves no space for reflection. Anything that prevents them from thinking deeply about their own life. But ignoring these questions does not stop time. It simply makes the years disappear faster. And eventually, reality arrives. It appears in quiet moments of reflection. It appears in hospital rooms. It appears during late nights when people look back on their choices. It appears in the realization that some doors have already closed forever. That is why people near the end of their lives often share the same types of regrets. They rarely regret the risks they took. They regret the risks they avoided. They rarely regret the dreams they chased. They regret the dreams they ignored. They rarely regret the things they did. They regret the things they postponed. And this pattern appears again and again in studies about human regret. People rarely regret trying something and failing. They regret not trying at all. Because failure fades, embarrassment fades, but missed opportunities can echo for a lifetime. So here's a question worth asking yourself right now. What are you postponing? Is it a career change you secretly want? A creative project you have been imagining for years? A conversation you need to have with someone important? A place you dream about visiting? A different lifestyle you quietly imagine for your future? Whatever it is, time is already moving forward. Right now, while you listen to these words, minutes are passing, hours are disappearing, days are sliding into the past. And that may sound dramatic, but it is simply reality. Life has never stood still, and it never will. The real power lies in awareness. When you truly understand that nothing lasts forever, you begin valuing things differently. You appreciate moments more deeply. You take opportunities more seriously. You forgive mistakes more quickly. You let go of pointless drama. And most importantly, you begin living with intention. Because you realize something extremely simple. One day, your story will end. Just like every story before yours. Kings ended, artists ended, scientists ended, athletes ended, entrepreneurs ended, influencers ended. Every single person eventually became a chapter in history. And one day, we will too. That realization may feel heavy, but it can also become the ultimate wake-up call. Because if nothing lasts forever, then this moment becomes incredibly valuable. This breath you are taking right now, this opportunity you still have, this day that is unfolding in front of you. And the real tragedy is not that life eventually ends. The real tragedy is living as if you had unlimited time, ignoring your potentials, ignoring your passions, ignoring the things that truly matter to you. So here is the idea worth carrying with you. Nothing lasts forever. Not success, not failure, not pain, not comfort, not youth, not even you. And instead of fearing this truth, you can choose to use it. Let it remind you to move forward, to act with courage, to speak honestly, to create something meaningful, to try new paths, to fail and learn to truly live, because time will pass whether you act or not. The question is very simple. When you look back at your life years from now, will you see a story you consciously chose, or will you see a story that simply happened while you were waiting? The clock is already ticking, and one day it will stop. So while it is still moving forward, make this moment count.